The most consistent thing we hear in every developing nation, especially North America, stop stressing, chill, relax. Why are you so worried? Stress is even a part of your life in primary school, elementary school, on the playground. You getting bullied. You didn't do your homework. You too fat. You too skinny. Your hair too long. Your hair too short. Ugh. All of it's about stress. You don't have enough money. You got too much money. Stress, stress, stress. You eating too much. You're not eating enough. Drink enough water. Don't drink too much water. The lady just passed out and died from drinking too much water on the marathon. Are you freaking kidding me? What are we supposed to do? Well, de-stress. How do you do that? And now there are apps that tell us how to breathe. Are you kidding me? I was born breathing, and now I gotta pay somebody to tell me when to hold my breath and when to let it out? Wow, we've really gotten off track here. But all the doctors and all the scientists are telling us the same thing. Your neurological system is toast if you are too stressed. And if that happens, all of your organs go into a tailspin and you are screwed. You might as well blow your own brains out. And who wants to do that on purpose? Okay, this is not against anybody with mental illness. Forget all about that. I'm just talking about those of us who are trying to manage stress. Well, I tell you what, I found somebody across the pond over there in Western Europe who has a simple solution. Yes, a simple solution that does not cost a lot of money. You don't have to climb to the top of Mount Everest. Yes, thank me now. You're welcome. Come on, come on, come on in. Listen and watch. Parenting Up. Caregiving Adventures with comedian Jay Smiles is the intense journey of unexpectedly being fully responsible for my mama. For over a decade, I've been chipping away at the unknown, advocating for her, and pushing Alzheimer's awareness on anyone and anything with a heartbeat. Spoiler alert, I started comedy because this shit is so heavy, so be ready for the jokes. Caregiver newbies, OGs, and village members just willing to prop up a caregiver, you are in the right place.
Hi, this is Zeddy. I hope you enjoy my daughter's podcast. Is that okay?
Simple solution for stress. A conversation with Christian. Our Parenting Up community is growing so fast. I can't put out an episode as fast as we're growing. So text podcast to 404-737-1449 for updates, exclusives, and suggestions on topics. While you're at it, share an episode with a caregiver you love. Review on Apple Podcasts and follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Please, it really helps. Hey, Christian.
Hey, Jay.
Welcome to the Parenting Up family.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. You're coming to us from Portugal.
Yep, south of Portugal.
So exciting. I love port wine. That's not why we're here, but I just had to say that out loud.
They do make a mean port wine.
Yeah, they are the best at it. Now, you're not a caregiver. You have not been a caregiver, but you have some phenomenal information about how to live a life where you can manage your own stress. And that is so important to and for caregivers. You and I talked about how much on a daily basis, especially as adults, we suck at managing stress. Life is going to bring stress all the time. So talk to us about first how you came to realize that since stress isn't going to go anywhere, Let's get better at having tools to manage it.
Yeah, well, I think when I look back in my life, I can see how stressed I've been for some 3 decades, basically. And it really took me, I suppose, around the summer. Um, it took me experiencing quote unquote no stress to understand how stressed I was and how stressed myself and my wife were, because we have a 2-year old, and we are all alone here in Portugal raising her with kind of minimal help. So we're really on each other's um, asses a lot, And so I ordered this supplement. I love to experiment with supplements because I I'm a health consultant. I help people with their health goals. So I'm always experimenting with new supplements. So in the summertime, not that I discovered it as a new supplement, but I'd known about it for a long time, but I never tried it. So I ordered some. It's called pregnenolone. Pregnenolone. So I went on iHerb.com and I ordered one. It's like $8 for like a 1 to 2 month supply. So we started taking this with my wife, and the next 2 weeks after we both started taking this, we did not even have one quibble. That was unheard of in our entire relationship. So I'm like, what the heck happened that this thing could so profoundly change our whole demeanor? During the second of those 2 weeks, our daughter got quite sick. We were in the zoo at the zoo, and she was, like kids lick dirty things, they're putting things in their mouth, and she got super sick, had a fever for almost a week, and we'd normally be like fighting off when do we give her ibuprofen, if or should we give her. I'm always like, no, don't give her that. My wife is like, her temperature is too high, let's take her to the doctor. I'm like, the doctor is just gonna waste our time. It's the same story every time. So none of this happened. I'm like, how is this compound doing this? So anyway, fast forward to now, and I'm actually writing a book. It's about longevity, but a big part of longevity actually is keeping stress as low as possible. If you go to Okinawa or any of these blue zones where there's like a really high proportion of centenarians, doesn't matter what these people eat. Some of them might eat more pork,
Well,
others might more eat lentils.
hold on 1 second, Christian. You have given a few things that some people may not understand. You talked about Blue Zone, octogenarians, and you also talked about the supplement. Can you spell the
Yeah.
supplement for
Sure.
us? And then talk to us
Sure.
about what a Blue Zone is, octogenarians meaning people in their 80s. But
Yeah.
tell us
Sorry,
about the supplement again.
I tend to like talk a million miles an hour. So this supplement, it's called pregnenolone. So PREG, like pregnant, nen, NEN, OLONE. If you go to iHerb.com and type in pregn, it will come up. And in fact, what you can do is, my favorite brand that I use and I recommend to my clients is the brand is excuse me, the brand is MRM Nutrition, MRM. If you type in MRM Preg, a 50 milligram pregnenolone supplement comes up. It's like $8 or something like that. It's actually very cheap. And so the tangent I was going off. Thank you for stopping me. I just wanted to kind of wrap that up. What you will find if you go to any of these blue zones, which are kind of regions of the world where there's the highest proportion of long-lived people, like people over 100 years of age or more. There's one in Okinawa, Japan, Greece, Ikaria, Costa Rica, Loma Linda is another one, and then it was another one in Italy. I forget the exact place. But what I wanted to say is, it doesn't matter what these people eat in those blue zones. The biggest factor they all have in common is they lead lives of very little stress. So they kind of are simple folk living in the villages, have a great social life. Everybody kind of knows everybody in the village. And but the most important thing is, yes, their food is clean. They don't have plastics and all this crap and blah blah blah, industrial pollution. But the most important aspect is low stress, because when you're stressed, a lot of negative things happen in the body, right? So to tie it back to what I was talking about, pregnenolone, this supplement, it's actually just slightly modified cholesterol. So we make pregnenolone. Our cells make pregnenolone. And then when you take cholesterol, whether that's from the diet or you made it yourself in the cell, it can be it's kind of a part of the cell structure, but it's also the backbone of our hormones like testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, and a number of other things. They're called neurosteroids or neurohormones, I suppose you could call them, that are in the kind of the brain and the nervous system. And one of these is called allopregnanolone. So when you take pregnenolone, it can become progesterone, which women usually will know about progesterone. It's kind of the female hormone.
Yes.
It's actually a really good supplement for women to get progesterone cream. It really helps to lower the stress levels. Even men can use it, though it can, in higher doses, it can be a bit feminizing for men. So I prefer pregnenolone. But here's the thing: when you get progesterone either from pregnenolone, or you make it yourself, or you take it as a supplement, that can get turned into allopregnanolone. And fun fact: allopregnanolone was I think the first FDA approved treatment for postpartum depression. So they
Wow.
approved that in 2019.
Huh.
And not so fun fact, treatment costs in the region of $35,000.
That's not fun at all.
But this supplement I told you about is a precursor to that. And these guys, you have to go to the hospital or the treatment center. You have to be there multiple days. You have to pay for that stay. So it's clearly a money grab. And to me, it's quite despicable that they're preying on women, new moms with postpartum depression. Some of them are literally suicidal. We're talking about this allopregnanolone. One treatment was enough to still have an effect a month later when they retest the women. So it's so incredible that we just increase our allopregnanolone levels in the kind of the brain, and all of these things, depression, addiction, just feeling low, sad, stressed, they seem to go away. And so when I started digging into the science of it all, basically what happens is when you're stressed acutely, let's say something scares you, or today was very stressed, and everything else is okay in your life, these allopregnanolone, pregnenolone, these other things, these kind of protective steroids, they go up acutely. When there's an acute stress, they go up in tandem to kind of help us recover from the stress. So when we're under chronic stress, the cortisol and the stress hormones are elevated, and gradually these protective hormones start to get depleted. So a simple thing like taking pregnenolone, to me, the effect, I felt it within 3-4 days. Like I got a steady state where it was like, wow, and my wife, she was like so calm, like you couldn't perturb her in any way you could think of. So point there is the chronic stress we're under, and most of us listening are under this chronic stress. If we can replete these protective steroids in our body with the simple, easy, cheap supplement, I think most of us listening will get a great benefit. If you feel nothing from the supplement, I just tell people you're probably not that stressed, which is great.
Yes, and then you can just stop taking it.
Yeah, keep it for when you need it. In that case, and when we take pregnenolone, you take it for like, let's say, a month. You're good, and then you just take it during periods of more stress, or when you can preempt stress coming up. Let's say around Christmas or a trip. Like when we took a 4-day trip a while ago, I had to drive, multiple days, every day driving in new country, whatever. So I was pumping the pregnenolone like candy, and yeah, that's how you maintain your health as you age, keeping stress low. The problem is we cannot keep stress low because of the environment we're in, the jobs we have, the caretaking duties we have. So we can't fix those things out there. We can't change them. So at least we can sort of tweak our biology, our biochemistry. That's kind of what I like to help people do.
That I tell you what, you got a winner in me. I tell you that, or a believer, I should say. You nailed it when you talked about chronic stress. As a caregiver, a major thing for us, Christian, is even on days when nothing negative or catastrophic has occurred, there's this little voice of, but what if? Did I think about this? Is my cell phone charged? Did I get a text? Are my alerts on? Is someone from the facility going to call? Is my sibling doing their part? If you are part of a care team, then you're wondering, are the other members of the care team doing what they're supposed to do? You're never off. It's like being an emergency room physician or nurse, where they are constantly on call, or a fireman, or a police officer who is a detective, or the individuals who actually, you've been charged with saving people's lives, and you're the emergency team. That's what it's like when you're a caregiver, especially for someone who has a cognitive disorder or disease where they can't speak for themselves. So there's this extra element of responsibility where you have a fiduciary duty. Like, if I don't damn show up, if I don't answer the phone or the email or the text message, or I don't get this alert or answer the group chat, my mama, dad, or sister, cousin, they're going to be or experience some irreparable harm. So there is this static, this white noise that is consistently happening that I know has been eating away at me, and I do the best I can to manage it. But at a point, you don't even realize that you're stressed. There's been times where I'm walking around, or I'm on vacation, or I'm with friends, or I'm out on a date, and the guy says, "Jay, where are you?" I'm like, "I'm right here." What do you mean, where am I? I'm looking at you. We're eating. I'm trying to give you romantic eyes.
What's your name again, Andrew?
Don't you see? Yes, your name again. You see me giving you my bedroom eyes? It's not working. So if there's a supplement that can give me a chance at curbing that edge of balancing my those levels of that, basically that fight or flight set of my nervous system. Let me ask you this. Have there been any noted negatives or downfalls to taking this supplement? Has anybody suggested that there's some negatives?
No, not with excuse me, not with pregnenolone. Funny, I don't think they've been able to find like a lethal dose, right? Because usually with most of these things, they some poor unsuspecting lab rats or whatever, they usually find turmeric, whatever. Think of anything, salt, water. You will find a lethal dose of almost anything. I don't think they've been able to with pregnenolone. So generally the supplements come in like 20, 30, 50 milligrams. Some people take 100 milligrams, but I've taken a gram or like every day for multiple days. It just seems like it's so beneficial that the cells seem to accumulate it. So if you can do it topically, I've made my own topical sort of oil based pregnenolone mixtures, and you can just put it on the skin. And they've done studies where the cells just accumulate it. So it's like I don't know. I don't want to use hyperbolic type of qualifiers like magical or wonderful, but to me this is like this is a magical supplement. If you need it,
Yeah.
it will do some amazing things for you, right? And I totally relate to what you're saying when you're not that it's a different sort of feeling, but when I became a dad, when I had to because my wife had a kind of tough labor, so we did a home birth. So my wife barely couldn't lift our daughter for the first couple of weeks. So the first couple of weeks I was every time the kid cried, I was waking up, changing her, giving her to my wife, putting her back to sleep. And that was like 5 times a night, I think, at least, or around thereabout. So being switched on like that, ready to get up as soon as you hear like a murmur, geez, I can only imagine what it must be like to be like that for 2, 3, 5 years, like some folks out there. So that is what really wears down your system, being constantly that slightly activated, like the dial. In my upcoming book I call it stress mode. So you're in stress mode, but it's not an on-off switch, it's a dial. So like when you're sleeping, the dial is all the way down, and then let's say you're in a MMA fight, cage fight, then it's all the way up, and in between there's all the permutation, from climbing the stairs to giving a speech. And we all have a different, the things are in a different place on the dial. But the way I liken it, being in the state you described, is you're kind of just into stress mode at all times to be ready, like in this ready state, and then you just kind of up and down, but only in the stress mode zone on the dial, which could be a third, the last third. So with something like pregnenolone, we can turn it all the way down. And talking about side effects, is one morning early in my kind of experimentation with this particular supplement, I made this. I ordered a bunch of it online, made this sort of oil thing. So I was rubbing it on my belly and kind of I was taking it orally, and it was maybe at 10 a.m. And then my daughter woke up and my wife was out working. So my daughter was playing in the living room, and about maybe noon, I kind of started getting very sleepy. I was like on the couch. I was literally kind of like lying back. I rested my head on the back of the couch, and then I literally fell asleep. And my daughter was playing nicely, and then suddenly my phone rang. DHL was coming, and I just jumped out of the couch, and I went and answered the phone, and I was completely normal after that. But for me it was surprising, because at that point I could have had 2 or 3 coffees. So this compound can relax you so much, but yet if you need stress mode to get you out of a jam, to take care of an emergency, it's there for you, but you're out of it the rest of the time. So it's, again, like I use things like magical. I don't normally use words like this when talking about supplements, but this to me has been magical. And another thing is just to kind of people can use this, experiment with it. It's great for during the day. Some of my clients love how it helps them to sleep. But there are 2 more I'm going to talk about in my book. I might as well tell you these now. So pregnenolone is a great sort of, it's like a shield against depression, against real serious stress. Then there's theanine, L-theanine, THEANINE, which is basically extract from green tea, which is probably the reason why when you drink green tea, even though it has caffeine, you don't get the jitters. So theanine, you can take that, especially if you drink coffee. Theanine with coffee is a match made in heaven. So I take that during the day for calm focus. And then GABA, GABA, that's an amino acid. I take that 30 minutes before bed, and that is more sedating, but it's not sedating like alcohol or valerian or weed. You can still kind of, if you need to be alert, you will get out of that sedated state. For example, I took GABA during kind of the day one time, and I did get sleepy. But then as soon as you need to, like, let's say you have to go drive or whatever, you just snap right out of it because it's a weak sort of inhibitor of the fight or flight nervous system. Whereas these other things, alcohol, weed, whatever, they exert a strong effect, and then that takes a certain amount of time to wear out. The only thing with GABA is if you take a bit too much in the evening, it can be hard to get up in the morning. You're rubbing your eyes for half an hour. But again, it's not this kind of drug like sedation like a benzo or barbiturate or whatever. So these would be my go-tos.
Fantastic.
Theanine during the day, GABA at night, and pregnenolone prophylactically once, twice, 3 times a week, just to kind of keep those protective hormone levels up.
What was the one that comes from the green tea extract?
Theanine.
Theanine. Now,
Yeah.
are you telling me that theanine really has a chance to give me the benefits of caffeine without the jerkiness?
No, it basically kind of balances caffeine.
Okay.
Right. So it has nootropic sort of and brain enhancing properties on its own, but it more just gives you that a little bit of a calm air. Like everything is like, if you can imagine the dial, the stress mode dial just turned down a little bit, but then if you have coffee with it or an hour after or whatever, the coffee, it will allow you to be focused. Actually, for comedy, stand-up comedy, I'm not that I recommend drinking coffee that late in the day. I don't know even if you like coffee, but theanine can really help to balance the jitters, the stage jitters, but it will still allow you to amp yourself up. So because you need to, for that performance aspect, you still kind of are a little bit in fight or flight, a little bit in stress mode. I think most comedians are,
Yes.
at least. But the theanine can really help reduce the stress.
Gotcha. This is amazing because you are giving various options on how to use supplements that will allow us family caregivers an option on how to manage that everyday, that chronic stress. Hey, life is too much. Something sucks. What can I do to make sure that no matter what news I get, or if I don't get any news, maybe I just had a bad night's sleep, or traffic was tough, or my knee just started hurting because I was walking down the hall a little too fast. But I know I got this thing in my purse or in my gym bag, and I can take it, and it's not going to harm me, but it will help me. Harm and not help. It's not going to have some, wacky effect on my liver or my kidneys. And those are the things that we need. That's exactly what we need, Christian.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, this has been a phenomenal conversation. It's been extremely informative. I know that the Parenting Up community is going to be grateful for it. I can't wait to get the feedback. But before we wrap up, I want them to know where they can find you. You mentioned being an author. Let us know the titles of your upcoming books, anything you already have out, and where they can follow you and support you.
Oh, thanks, Jay. So my website is christianyordanov.com. It's just my name.com. And my first book was on autism. It's called Autism Wellbeing Plan, How to Get Your Child Healthy. It's all about helping parents understand the health challenges that autistic kids usually suffer from, or the various different health challenges that they can suffer from, how to identify them and address them using lab testing, supplementation, sleep hygiene practices, obviously diet, that's the most important thing. And my next book, I just kind of I'm just kind of in the process, the final stages of editing and polishing it up. I'm working with my editor now, and hopefully in about a month's time it will be out. It's about how to live longer, basically. It's about longevity, and like I said earlier, the biggest really lever to pull on longevity is reducing stress, right? So a large chunk of the book I devote to reducing in not so much psychological stress, because I'm not your friend. I can't come into your life and tell you, you need to uh, get this person out of your life, whatever, seek counsel with an elder in your family. I can't do any of these things, but I can, like we already discussed, I can help you nip stress in the bud at the sort of the deeper biochemical level. And then when you do that, that allows you to experience stressors from a different lens. It allows you to, let's say someone cuts you, for example, just a quick example is, I was driving like a few weeks ago. I remember I was driving and I don't know, did I do something wrong? But somebody behind me was super pissed off. So he just kind of like, he swerved around me and he was like, I could see his face. He was like going red. He's got like smoke coming out of his ears. And I was like in a super relaxed mood, I kind of just enjoying listening to some music, being kind of like in an awesome mood. And I just looked at him and I was like, I felt so much compassion that someone can be in that so amped up, so stressed out behind the wheel of his car on his own. And I'm like, dude, that's no way to live, And I kind of I smiled, and I was like, that was me. That was me for decades, So I really am hoping to kind of shed a little bit of light on this, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the health gurus out there, they're promoting exactly the opposite of what people should be doing. Fasting, low carb diets, just pushing hard, very cold plunges, Wim Hof breathing, all of these things, they're just adding more stress on our plates. So I'm hoping to help people understand the mechanisms of stress, how stress mode works, what puts us into stress mode, and how to keep ourselves out of it with how we eat, what we do and what we don't do on a daily basis. So that will be the book coming out, I'm hoping by the end of January or early February 2024. That will be volume 1 of How to Live Longer. That's a working title. I'm hoping to do volume 2 and maybe a volume 3. So links to that will be on my website. I also have a podcast and some other courses, and everything is on the website.
Spell your last name for us.
Okay, so it's Yordanov, Yordanov. Yordanov. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. You're welcome back anytime. Certainly when you release the books. You take care. If I get over to Portugal, you will be the first to know.
Amazing. So appreciate you so much, Jay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care. The Snuggle Up. Number 1, chronic stress is real. It's serious, and it's a part of being a family caregiver. I mean, it builds up every day, every moment. It's not going anywhere, but we can manage it. How cool is that? How cool is that? Unless you live in one of these blue zones that Christian talked about, and I am personally not close to anybody that lives in a blue zone. I've been to some blue zones, and I did feel remarkably light on my feet. But for the rest of us, we need to take seriously the idea of chronic stress. We become so accustomed to stress that we don't know we're under it, right? You get to the point where driving 10 miles over the speed limit is normal, and then driving 15 miles over the speed limit is normal, and then waking up and getting dressed within 20 minutes, shower and washing your face and eating breakfast and getting coffee and getting in the car in 20 minutes becomes normal. But there's an anxiety in your gut that really you shouldn't be living with. And now you're eating Tums or taking Rolaids, or you're taking all of this other medication to counterbalance the acid in your stomach, or you have more migraines, now you're drinking more coffee, or you're taking something else. All of that is a sign of chronic stress that's piling up on each other. So first thing I want you to really consider is even the notion that you're under chronic stress. Just because you go to sleep at night or you appear to be functioning during the day does not mean that you've avoided chronic stress. Number 2, pregnenolone. I hope that's right. That's what he said. But anyway, Portuguese is his first language, and it is not even my 12th language, okay? Pregnenolone, baby. It kind of sounds like pregnant alone, which is what I would have to be at this point, because I'm 52, and if I got pregnant right now, I would absolutely be alone. All my family and friends would disown me. They would be like, first of all, Jay, what we know is you're not the Virgin Mary. Heifer, how did you even get pregnant? All right, anyway, that was just me with my own little side joke. There's a supplement that costs about $8. I did find it on iherb.com. It's quite a few companies. You can research it for yourself. It is a natural hormone that we produce in our bodies. I had not heard of it. Maybe some of you had. But it's a stabilizer. Much like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and all the alls and the ends and the stuff in our body. But it is a stabilizer in our stress levels. So it helps bring us back down and keep us here from all of the spikes. I don't know about you, but my life has a lot of spikes. It has a lot of spikes. If the stock market crashes, I spike. If my mama has a bad day, I spike. If I don't get enough sleep, I spike. If I bomb at a comedy show, I spike. That's a lot of options for spiking. If I run out of gas, I ran out of gas recently, y'all. Who runs out of gas now? I did. Don't judge me, it already happened. But whatever, that was a stressor. I'm happy to know of another option in a supplement that's less than $10 that my body is already accustomed to having in it. But as we get older, it doesn't produce as much. Look at that. And as we have more chronic stress, our body needs it more. Look at that. The more chronic stress, the more we need that particular hormone. But the older you get, your body makes less, because back in the day, the older you got, the less stress you were under, because the kids were supposed to be doing that shit and you were supposed to be on the downhill sitting in a rocking chair on the porch watching them farm the land. I don't even have a porch. Number 3. In the United States, for sure, heart disease, high cholesterol remain silent killers. So you may say, Jay Smiles, I don't know nothing about this supplement and all this pregnenolone crap you talking about. And I want to just offer this. If you don't want to consider that you may have chronic stress or that you want to add this new supplement, just think about this. Heart disease and high cholesterol create heart attacks, strokes, and they are silent killers. And they are still account for large proportions of death in North America, and I know for sure a lot in the United States. We don't get a lot of warning. They don't have pain. You don't get symptoms. You don't break out in a rash. You don't get lumps and bumps. There's no mammogram. There's no poke up the butt. Before you know it, you just pass out and you're dead. So, that's another reason to find something, some type of supplement that will calm you down and make your life as a caregiver easier to manage. So maybe you don't have time to do self-care like a spa or go on vacation. What kind of supplement or maybe honey lavender tea that you could do that could reduce some of your body's natural precursors to something like heart disease or high cholesterol? Because this is the thing. We know that stress kills. And we know that caregiving is stressful as fuck. Yeah. What's up, family? Share this episode right here with the caregiver you love. Review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.